Morning, everybody.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Today is the 12th day of Tishrei, 2 days after Yom Kippur. So it's brought down that these days, these 4 days between Yom Kippur and Sukkot is a very, very special time. And it is days that we are so busy with preparing ourselves for the upcoming holiday that there isn't enough time to do anything wrong. To the point that we see a reference to this in the Torah, because when the Torah gives us the commandment to have a lulav and esrog, to take the 4 species for the holiday of Sukkot, the way the Torah says is, you should take it for you on the first day. The first day of the holiday, you have to already take the 4 species. But really, it's the 15th day of the month. And every time there's a holiday, like for example, Passover, which is also the 15th day of the month, it says the 15th day of the month. So why over here does it say the first day? It should really say the 15th day. That will be more correct and more specific. So the explanation is, why is it saying the first day? It's the first day to the calculation of sins. Till then, the book of sins or the book of your record is not really activated yet. No one's watching you yet. Big Brother hasn't activated the cameras yet. There's nobody's judging you. But the first day of the holiday, that's when everything starts over again. So in that case, comes out that these 4 days is a very special level for every single one of us. We're holding on a level that we do not have any sin. Now we know that there's a very special thing to have children pray and learn and do things like that, because it says, Hevel she'ein bahem chet. They are like the breath that has no sin. So they're very pure. So when they pray and when they daven, it reaches a very high level. So in a sense, we all have that in these 4 days. Because we're all Hevel she'ein bahem chet. There's no chet now. There's no sin. There's no time to sin, and Hashem doesn't count the sins. Now, so in a sense, we are the same as children today. That in itself is very powerful. There are those that say that not only we're the same as children, in a sense we're more than children. Why? Because there's brought down that when it comes to doing mitzvahs, to doing fulfilling the commandments of God, there could be 2 people in 2 different categories. There are those that are mitzuvah v'oiseh, you're commanded and you're doing. And then there are those eina mitzvah v'oiseh, you're not commanded and then you do it anyway. Seemingly, which one would get more reward? The one that's commanded and fulfills it, or the one that's not commanded and fulfills it? Usually you would say, the person is such a good person, he's not even obligated to do it and he's doing it. Wow, that's amazing. That's usually the way it would be said. But the truth of the matter is it's not. That's not the accepted answer. The accepted answer is the one that is commanded and does, he is greater or she is greater. Why? Because you have the challenge of that you need to do it. It's much easier to do something when you're not commanded than to do something that you're commanded, you're obligated. So when you're obligated, A, you also have, it's harder for you to do it, but B, you also have the power of the commandment itself behind you. When God commands you to do something and you do it, you're running on his jet fuel, on his engine. You're running on his koiches, on his energy that he's infusing you with that mitzvah. So in a sense, let's take it back to this case. If we are also in this category now of Hevel she'ein bahem chet, that we don't have a sin, and at the same time we're also commanded to learn Torah, to do mitzvahs, so we have the advantage of the children, and we have the advantage of being obligated, and we're doing it anyway. So we have the purity of the children and the obligation of the adults. So it's a very, very special, these days are very, very special. It's very, very special to learn Torah. The person learns Torah these days, it's something very unique. Now I was thinking also to myself, they're saying we're so busy. We're so busy for 4 days. Wow, what are you busy with? For 4 days, we're so busy for the holidays. So yeah, if you just look at it, the action part, maybe it's not so bad, I have to build a sukkah, and I have to go buy the 4 minim, the 4 species. It could take you a couple hours, especially today. You buy the snap-on sukkah, you go to the store, you roll in, you check this aspect, that aspect, it'll take you 2 hours, you're done, the whole thing, right? But the truth of the matter is there's a lot of halachas, there's a lot to learn. if you want to know properly how to build a sukkah, what the definition of a sukkah, and what the definition of a holiday is, and all the laws for lulav and esrog, that could take you a couple of days. So, but here he's saying that you have to learn these days, so you could every 2 and 2 add 4, equals 4. These days are, if a person wants to take in the holiday properly, we have to try to educate ourselves, we have to try to connect with it, and you have to try to learn in general. Any type of learning is good. So these days are very powerful. They represent the 4 letters of Hashem, Yud and a Hey and a Vav and a Hey. And the 4 letters of God also is basically the process of bringing down energy into this world. When God created the world, it was all from nothing to something, or from something that's spiritual into physical. That is represented by the Yud, the little letter Yud. It's like that dot that Hashem takes from that, and He's creating from that. Then comes the Hey. The Hey is like already a much wider letter. It has a horizontal line and 2 vertical lines. One is a half vertical line, one is a full vertical line. It's hispashtos. It's manifestation of that Yud going down. That Yud was there, that spiritual element was there, like a dot, and now it's expanding. Then comes the Vav, which is like a stick. That from that expansion, a little bit of that is being drawn down into the next world. But it's only a little bit. Then you have the next Hey that makes an expansion of that in that world or whatever it is. So you have this idea of learning Torah, which also represents the same thing. Because what's Torah? It's information. It's the godly insight. It's the chachma, the wisdom of Hashem, as we're bringing it down. So it follows also the style of the letters of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Hashem should be inspired. We should recognize that these days are very, very powerful days. We can accomplish a lot. That's Hevel Shem B'mchet. We are clean. We are like children. We are, in a sense, we have the advantage that we're also mitzuvim v'oisa. We're commanded at the same time to do. Let us utilize these days and to elevate and to transpire and to illuminate. And then your sukkah will be full of godly light. B'karav mamish. Amen.